Imagine that exactly 180 days from now, you wake up in a completely different life. Your wallet fuller, your mind clearer, your sense of self unshakable. This is not a fantasy. This is the result of the decisions you make today. And at the end of this video, a practical formula I would apply if I were you. Have you ever wondered why most people spend their whole lives going in circles like they're trapped in a wheel? And at the same time, certain individuals from the same streets, the same cities, break ahead and transform their lives beyond recognition. What is that? Luck, fortune, good genetics? No. It's choice. It's the moment a person says to themselves, enough. From now on, I'm taking the wheel. Now let me tell you a paradox. Most people overestimate what they can do in one day, but dramatically underestimate what they can change in 6 months. 180 days. It's not a year, and it's not an eternity, but it's enough to completely transform your financial future, if, of course, you know how. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I'll share what I would do if I were you right now, with debts, doubts, anxiety about tomorrow, what I would start with, and what steps I'd take. And at the end of the video, there will be a simple, clear, absolutely practical formula, a 6-month plan that once changed my life. But before that, allow me to shake you up a bit. Imagine that nothing changes. Imagine waking up 6 months from now in the same financial situation with the same problems, once again telling yourself, it's not time yet. Maybe in January, maybe after vacation, maybe when I have the money. And now, the contrast. Imagine you're not just watching this video, but starting a countdown to a new life. And every day becomes a brick in a new home. After 180 days, a different reflection in the mirror, different thoughts in your head, different numbers in your bank account, different choices, a different you. You'll feel what it's like to stop asking and start creating, to stop surviving and start building, to stop making excuses and start taking action, and most importantly, to stop hoping for change and become the change yourself. Stay until the end, because we're not just going to talk, we'll build a roadmap, step by step, day by day. But first, let's break down the key question: why change never comes on its own, and why most people never move from where they are. If I were you today, with everything I carry inside me now, the knowledge, the experience, the pain of past defeats, and the taste of victories, I wouldn't start with the bank, the stock market, or a business plan. I would start with the mirror, not to check my hair, but to honestly say to myself, here is the true author of my life, and if I don't like the script, then the director needs to change the approach. Because the truth is simple: you don't get what you want, you get who you become. And the first thing I would do is rewrite my mindset completely. My mentor, Mr. Schaff, once told me a line that felt harsh at the time, almost like a slap. Jim, your results are not the consequence of the economy, they're the consequence of who you've become. If you want more, become more. At first I resisted. I thought the world was unfair, that I was a victim. But then I realized the world isn't unfair. The world is a mirror. You want a better paycheck? Become more valuable. You want more money? Learn to create more value. You want a breakthrough? Then change yourself so that the breakthrough becomes inevitable. Success doesn't come to those who wait. Success comes to those who already act like they're ready for it. Behavior precedes results. Remember the story of Edward Barnes, a young man with no money, no connections, no education, but with one crazy idea. He wanted to be Thomas Edison's partner, not an employee, a partner. You might say, that's bold. I say, that's vision. And when he finally arrived at Edison's office, after traveling for days in a freight car, he didn't ask for a job. He said, I've come to be your partner. Edison gave him the most insignificant job, but Barnes acted, thought, and worked as if he was already a partner. And when the opportunity came, selling the dictation machine, he seized it, and everything changed. He didn't just wait for a chance. He trained himself to be worthy of it. And that is the first month of your 6-month journey. Become someone worthy of success. But what does that mean in practice? It means change your habits. Become the kind of person who wakes up early, not because someone said it's trendy, but because your time is precious. Become the kind of person who writes down goals, not because it's a rule, but because the brain sees better what's written down. Become the kind of person who reads 10 pages of a good book every day. Imagine, in 180 days, that's 1,800 pages. You think that won't change you? It will, beyond recognition. Also, visualize yourself differently. It's not magic, it's biochemistry. When you repeatedly see yourself as new, your brain starts building new neural pathways. And over time, reality catches up with the inner image. How did I do it? I pictured myself on stage while washing dishes in a cheap motel. I saw people applauding me, when in reality, I didn't even have gas money. And one day it became true. Not because I believed in magic, but because I started living as if I was already on that path. Ask yourself, does my daily life reflect the person I want to become? Most people aren't poor because of their paycheck. They're poor because of their mindset. They spend more than they earn. They live for instant gratification. They don't believe they're capable of more. And as a result, they get exactly what they allow themselves to have. That's why I repeat, success isn't external, it's internal. And the first 30 days of your breakthrough are not about money. They're about becoming the person who will be worthy of that money. And if you're thinking, and this all sounds too slow, let me tell you this. Quick results are rarely sustainable, and sustainable ones are rarely quick. But 180 days is not an eternity. And if you can keep this focus for just 30 days, everything else will start to accelerate on its own. Imagine, a month from now, you're no longer the person you are today. You're more disciplined. You're reading, you're planning, you're taking action. And that's when something I call financial gravity starts to appear. Success begins to be drawn to you because you've already created space for it. But this is just the beginning. You may have the best intentions in the world, dreams, plans, even goals written in ink on the finest paper. But if you haven't trained yourself to act, despite not feeling like it, all those things will remain in the same drawer where the dreams of millions of other people lie. I've met many such people. They genuinely wanted change, but they didn't act. And I'll tell you why. They were waiting for motivation. But successful people don't wait for motivation. They act to create it. And this is the second pillar of my 6-month breakthrough, if I were you. It's called simply discipline. You know what my mentor told me when I complained about lacking the inspiration to get up early? You can get up with motivation, or you can get up with a schedule. The choice is yours, Jim. Success doesn't wait for you to feel inspired. It comes to those who show up day after day. In the rain, in a bad mood, even when it feels like nothing is working. Picture a gym. You don't go because you feel like it every time. You go because you're the kind of person who goes to the gym. You act in alignment with your new self-image. And after a few weeks, your body confirms it. Yes, you are different. Finances are the same gym. Your wallet is a reflection of your daily habits. If you spend more than you earn every day, your wallet weakens. If you save every day, even just $10, it gets stronger. And this isn't about the amount, it's about discipline. I would start with a simple rule. Fulfill at least one financial task every day. It could be saving $5, reading one page from a financial literacy book, choosing one item not to spend money on, creating a budget spreadsheet. Small actions, but day by day, they break down the old image and build a new one. Because what matters most isn't the amount, but the rhythm. The rhythm of discipline triggers a wave of change. I had a friend, just a regular salesman. He once told me, I know I need to save, but my paycheck isn't enough. And I said, it doesn't matter how much. What matters is doing it every day. Your mental habit is the main investment. In 6 months, he saved more than he had in the previous 5 years combined. Not because he earned more, but because he trained himself to be someone who saves. We are all the sum of the decisions we repeat. And in finances, this is especially visible. People don't go broke from one bad move. They leak energy in small ways every day. And likewise, wealth doesn't appear instantly. It grows from actions that seem insignificant at first glance. Now imagine, after the first 30 days of your new life, you emerge with discipline. Mornings for planning, evenings for reflection. Every week, one financial win, you sold something unnecessary, increased your income, locked in a new habit. These aren't dreams anymore. This is a new life rhythm. But discipline isn't just about action. It's also about managing focus. Have you noticed how often we're distracted by the now? You're about to start something important and your phone buzzes. You want to work, and someone pulls you into a conversation. You're ready to act, and suddenly remember you're tired. You're not lazy, you just don't control your attention. And I would say to myself, for 6 months, I live like a master of attention. I filter, I cut off, I protect my focus like a treasure. Because breakthroughs live in focus. Where there is concentration, there is result. In this second month, you must become the person who acts even when they don't feel like it, and who protects their focus even when the world screams, get distracted. You transform from a motivation consumer into a person of action, and trust me, those are the people the world rewards. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. You'll see the first fruits, not in millions, but in pride. Pride in the fact that you control your day, and that is your first real profit. But that's not all. One of the most powerful things I've learned on my journey is this: we don't live in a vacuum. No one breaks through in finances alone. You are shaped by your environment. What you see, hear, who you talk to, who you sit in silence with, what you read, and even what you scroll through on your phone at 11:40 p.m. And if I were you today, halfway through my transformation journey, somewhere around the 3rd month, I wouldn't just reevaluate my schedule, I'd reassess my circle. My mentor once said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." I didn't understand it at first. I thought success was an internal matter. But later I saw your environment either fuels your fire or puts it out with water. Think for a moment, who's around you? People who inspire, or people who complain? People who talk about opportunities, or those constantly going on about the crisis, but the government, everything's doomed. If there's even one person near you whose voice, after a conversation, echoes in your head with, "You can't do it," that's not just a person, that's a leak. Energetic, financial, life-draining. So I would make a painful but absolutely necessary move. Create a protective circle. I'd choose 3 people whose opinion is worth aligning with and filter out the rest. And if such people aren't nearby right now, I'd build them through books, podcasts, videos, seminars. You might not have a millionaire friend, but you can read one every day and eventually think like one. This isn't just about changing your company, that it's about changing the frequency your brain operates on, and that frequency either attracts opportunities or repels them. Next, time. Have you ever wondered, why do some people manage to start a business, change their body, launch a new project, while others, with the same 24 hours, only manage to feel tired and binge-watch shows? The answer is simple. The first group plans, the other reacts. My favorite rule: don't start your day until you've finished it on paper. Anything not planned will be devoured by chaos. That's why at the end of every day I ask myself 3 questions. What was effective? What stole my focus? What will I do tomorrow with full presence? And even more importantly, I don't allow myself to start my day with someone else's agenda. No news, no social media, no outside requests have a place in my morning. The morning is sacred. It's construction time. In this 3rd phase of transformation, you stop living in routine and start living in a system. You don't just wake up, you rise because you have something to build, the new you. You don't just work, you choose where your time creates value and where it just burns. Now, acceleration. Because in the 3rd phase, you notice something interesting: the first fruits. You're not the same person you were 3 months ago. You act, you read, you've let go of old expenses, you've developed momentum. And here comes the biggest trap: stopping. Because your brain will say, "You're doing great, take a break." But I'll tell you, this is the moment to speed up. The first results aren't a signal to ease up, they're proof. Your rhythm is working. Now it's time to multiply it. And I would do it like this. Find a new financial habit, e.g. a second monetization stream. Start a weekly financial report, just for yourself. Bring someone into your process, a partner, mentor, or accountability buddy. Automate one action: a transfer, a habit, a reminder. Because this is the path from breakthrough to financial strength. Not luck, not a lucky break, but a quiet, steady, strategic evolution. Day by day, person by person, habit by habit. And if someone says to you, "That takes too long," just smile and quietly say to yourself, "I'm already halfway there," while most are still dreaming of someday starting. You've already started, and the finish line isn't far off. So we've almost completed the journey together. We've talked about discipline, new habits, self-redefinition, and the impact of environment. But here's what I'll tell you. No knowledge works unless you make it your own. And that's why, right now, we'll take a brief pause. Not a pause in meaning, but rather a moment of action. Because the best way to absorb something is to feel it within. I'm going to ask you 5 simple but very deep questions. You don't need to pause the video, just listen and answer honestly to yourself in your mind. You don't need perfect answers. The only thing that matters is being honest. Each question, a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 means not at all and 10 means absolutely 100%. Ready? Question 1. How much do your daily actions today reflect the person you want to become 6 months from now? Pause for a moment, think. If you repeated today 180 times, what would the result be? If that thought scares you, it's a signal that it's time to change your rhythm. Question 2. How consistently do you manage your time, instead of just reacting to what's happening around you? Think, who is running your day today? You, or your phone, events, other people's requests? If the answer is not me, you're losing your most valuable resource. Question 3. How much does your immediate environment support your transformation? One toxic voice in your life can destroy 6 months of effort. Think, who gives you energy after a conversation and who drains it? Question 4. How honestly can you say that every day you are building financial strength, even by just 1%? This isn't about big amounts. It's about rhythm, saving $5, skipping an unnecessary purchase, reading a page of a smart book. The system matters more than the outcome. Question 5. How deeply do you believe that you are responsible for everything happening in your life? Because if you're waiting for the economy to improve, the government to change, the stars to align, then the game isn't yours. But if you say, I'm the cause, I'm the solution, then your 6-month transformation has already begun. That's it. 5 questions, 5 inner mirrors. I'm not asking you to sit down with a notebook right now, though you should definitely do that later. But I highly recommend revisiting these questions after the video and giving yourself honest written answers, not for anyone else, for yourself. Because your breakthrough doesn't start from the screen, it starts in silence and responsibility. And if this video brought even a little value to you, take one more step. Hit like, subscribe, and write in the comments, I'm starting my 180 days. That will be your first step. Public, but deeply personal. And I promise, I read every comment, because this isn't just a channel to me. This is a community of people who are changing themselves, and through that, the world. 6 months, it's not forever, but it's enough to completely change yourself. And if I could go back in time, if I were you, I wouldn't wait for the perfect moment. I wouldn't look for motivation. I wouldn't justify myself with realities. I would just wake up one morning and say to myself, enough of living below my potential. Because here's the truth. Either you change something or you accept what is. And every day you don't change, and that's already a choice. Even silence is a choice. Even one more day to think is a choice. And time, it doesn't stop. It doesn't wait for us to get ready. And if you're standing at a crossroads today, let me give you one simple formula, the one that changed my life. Work on yourself more than on your income, and your income will grow by itself. Work on your character, and opportunities will find you. Work on who you are, and you will receive what you dream of. Because success, and it's not something that comes to you, it's something that catches up to you when you become worthy of it, not through manipulation, but through strength, through principles, through action. And you know what? Maybe no one around you believes in you yet. Maybe they criticize you, doubt you, don't take you seriously, but you are not obligated to remain who you were yesterday. You have the right to start over. You have the right to build a new version of yourself, starting from this moment. So I'll leave you not with advice, but with a question. How would your life change if for 180 days straight, you became the person who acts, learns, doesn't give up, and becomes stronger every day? The answer is in your hands and in every tomorrow morning.